You're not looking for the people that hate you. You'll find them, unfortunately. But you're not looking for the people that hate you, folks. You're looking for the people that don't. And that's the key. That's the content flow. Anybody tells you anything different, it's just add it to what I just said. Because I'm telling you right now, up about 4 years ago, nobody knew who I was. My social media started 4 or 5 years ago with 0 followers on all of it. But I do teach people how to make a shit ton of money and freaking grow their brands and grow their businesses and basically scale up everything they do and live an epic life. Anybody want to learn about that? Thank you. Well, not many people want to learn about that. You guys, I'm going to have to ask you to engage with me, because if I don't get engagement, I think, dude, am I bombing? Like no one gives a rat's ass? Of course, it's almost drink time, isn't it? This is Vegas, so I appreciate all of you that actually stayed to the end and hear me talk. But my goal by the end of this talk is to have you make one decision. One simple decision. And at the end, I'll make sure that you understand what that one is. But before we can go to the end, I want to wind it back and talk a little bit about the beginning. Now, when I was 6 years old, I lived in a small town called Cottage Grove, Oregon. It was the craziest thing because we lived in this little tiny shit box surrounded by very nice homes. You don't see that anymore. But my dad was a mill worker, blue collar, and we didn't have a lot of money. In fact, some Christmases went by where we didn't even get a gift. One time my dad cut a hole in my pocket so I'd have something to play with. No money. Very little. But everybody else around us had a lot of money. The person across the street, and they all had kids. They were all my friends, supposedly. Dude across the street was an eye doctor. The person to my right owned a grocery store chain. Everybody around us had money. We didn't. And I always felt like the scumbag of the neighborhood. I always felt like we were looked down upon. And so I just started basically lying, telling everybody that we were rich. When I'm sitting there with my friends, I would say that my dad owned Disneyland. We were just living in this hole for, until we built another one. And I would just continuously lie, even if the truth sounded better. And I could never just be real. And it backfired. It went on for 2 or 3 years where literally nobody would play with me. Nobody would pick me for sports. Even parents didn't allow their kids to play with me in fear their kids would turn out like me or become like me. So literally I was an outcast just from lying. And that lasted summer after summer, and I couldn't, it was just, now that I look back, it was a little bit traumatic. But ultimately, my parents decided to move about 30 miles north to a town called Eugene, Oregon. And that's when I realized that I get a brand new slate. I get to start all over. And I made a decision right there to stop lying, stop being ashamed, and just start being real. So here I am in a new town. I decided to be real. I decided to be myself. I decided to own who I was, stop being ashamed. And lo and behold, I started to get popular. I started to get friends. I started to, feel better about myself. And that's when I really realized that, I had influence. The problem was that influence was used to enrich myself. I was focused on myself. I would use that influence with people to get things. I would influence my buddy to give me his motorcycle. I would influence girls to give me, you know what I'm saying? I would influence people to basically get money and the things that I want. And I thought that was the way to go. And I spent many years in that mode. Too many, actually. But I can tell you right now, influence was powerful. And I could actually get a lot of people to do a lot of things for me. And I started to rise up through the ranks, and I started to freaking, be the Mr. Popular kid, and, the coolest kid in school and all that shit. And I didn't realize how many, feelings I was hurting or problems I was causing by doing this. And ultimately, it gave me insight into how valuable influence really was. But then eventually I ran into a guy, his name was Willy. He was the hardest working individual you've ever met, had the most beautiful kids, nicest wife, like his whole family was into church and helping people, and this guy was like the epitome of good. And here I am, Mr. Cool, wearing the watches and the suits, thinking I'm slick, and I'm trying to just get anything and everything. I'm trying to become rich. I could never get over $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 a year. That's my max. I could never break that. But when I met this guy, and I watched how his kids would come in and, have their head down and kind of just, very, very humble and timid and shy. And his wife was the same way, very humble and timid and shy. And I used to just look at him and be like, this is not good. This guy's like a really good dude. I don't know why he's in this situation. And I thought to myself, let me teach him how to sell. Let me teach him how to close deals. He was in the back of this dealership I was working at, and he was washing cars, hardest working dude in the whole place. Literally worked harder than everybody, made the least amount of money. That's why when you hear people tell you that hard work's the answer, guys, it's not the answer. If you look around, the hardest working people have the least amount of money. Think about it. The hardest working people have the least amount of money. They have the most backaches, the most blisters, but they don't have more money. And so I noticed this, and I said to myself, man, let me show this guy how to make money so he can feel better about himself. I used to look in his eyes and see the shame and guilt that he would have because he couldn't afford, nice clothes for his kids. His kids would have to go to school in, older clothes, and, his wife would come in just, kind of head down, and it was just, I just knew that I could do something. So I took the guy and I said, come on up. Let me bring you to the front. Let me show you how to sell. Let me show you how to close. Let me show you how to influence. Let me show you how to persuade people. And you'll make a shit ton of money. He said, no, he doesn't want to do that. He's not good at sales. He's not comfortable with taking people's money. He's not comfortable with screwing people over. His mindset was that sales was bad and that he couldn't do it. And so I eventually closed him into letting me do it, and I did it. And after about 3 months, he was making like $15,000 a month. He literally went from, minimum wage, can't afford anything, to $15,000 a month, and he could afford everything. And to my dismay, he started, giving money to charity. He started helping. Like, sometimes I get a little emotional because, that's a good guy. But anyway, this guy started doing the right shit with money. And that's when I decided, hold on. That's when I decided and realized what impact was. And that I had the ability to make an impact with people. And so at that point, I quit my job and I said, I'm going to go show people how to make a lot of money. Because I think, even though we're taught money's not important, money is massively important. And I wanted to make that kind of impact for other people. So as I was coming here, I thought to myself, what is the number one way I can impact the audience? What is the thing I can give you that will literally make the biggest impact for all of you? And again, going back over time, I thought about it as I was driving here, and I thought to myself, there's one thing that's made me the most amount of money. There's one thing, well, there's a lot of things actually, but there's one thing that's the most impactful thing I can teach you guys, and that is how to build a personal brand. I know the lady was talking earlier, and I'm sure you've heard this before, but what I want to show you guys is step by step how to build a personal brand. Because this brand that you build will give you more impact, more money, more reach than you ever thought possible. And it's not as hard as you think. That's the beautiful thing. If I can do it, anyone can do it. I dropped out of school at 16 years old, 11th grade. Everyone said I was going to prison. Everyone said I was going to end up in jail. Everyone said, you know, all the shit we hear. And now I own 7 companies that are going to do 9 figures. You know, I got Ferraris and all the kick-ass shit. And let me tell you something. They ain't lying when they say, you know, it's lonely at the top. But I believe it's lonely at the top because you don't help anybody else get there. So what I want to do right now is tell you this thing I call the content flow. Because guys, let me tell you something. It's so easy to build a personal brand on social media right now. You guys have to understand one thing. If people know you, they can send you money. They can ask you questions. They can reach out. If they don't know you, they can't. If you want to write something down, write this down. The more hands you shake, the more money you make. Period. Guys, I'm not a complicated guy that sits up here and tries to sound intelligent. You know, the polyunsaturated hydrocarbons flow through the medulla oblongata and increase the blood flow to the erector pili. And if you really study this, you know, it's very simple to make money. People, who's heard, raise your hand if you've heard life is hard. We've all heard it. We get indoctrinated with this shit. And in reality, I always figured out, what do I need to learn? And a lot of times it's something we need to unlearn. It's the stuff we need to unlearn. Life is not difficult. Building a brand is not difficult. I've watched and helped several people do it. Grant Cardone. When I first met him, nobody knew who he was unless you were a car salesman. Now everybody knows who he is, and he has $6 billion in assets under management, and everybody knows who he is. And guess why he has $6 billion? Because you all know who he is. You sent him that money. He gets on social media and says, come on, man, get your shit out of your 401k, give it to me, I'll make you 6%. And everybody sends him the money. Why aren't they sending you money? Why aren't they asking you to buy a house, to get a loan, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? And the only difference between you and him is he did it. So don't write a bunch of notes and then go back and not do shit. I call them success zombies. Those are the people that come to these all the time, and I see them at the same ones because they hire me to speak at all of them, and I'm like, frickin' dude, ain't you the one like 6 years ago? You're still here? Like, dude, eventually, how come you're not here? Like, you should be here by now. Well, it's because you guys just keep a bunch of notes and you go back and you don't do any of it. You have to implement the shit. You have to try it. You have to be willing to fail. Most people are so afraid to fail because they're worried about what they're going to look like, what other people are going to think of them, what their parents are going to say. So you don't want to do that. You want to build a personal brand. I will make at least, I always keep lowering it because it sounds so stupid, but I will make at least $200 million in the next 2 years, 100% because of the personal brand that I've built for myself so far. And it's not even that big. I only have 500,000 followers on Instagram, 500,000 on TikTok, and you know, maybe 250,000 here and there and wherever. It's not that big, but it's real. And I'm going to teach you guys how to build a real one. It's what I call my content flow. Okay? First thing you need to do is get a source of content. Okay? The source of content is what's important. So many people are busy showing houses, doing deals, you know, doing all these things you guys do. You're busy. When do you have time to make content? Okay, folks, just put in the head, I need a source of content. The source should be you. You are the content. What you do, where you go, who you talk to is the content. Do you take your dog to the park? Film it. Do you have conversations with employees? Film it. Do you have conversations with customers? Film it. Do you teach people? Film it. You see my guy right here? Everywhere I go, except the bedroom and the bathroom, he's filming it. Why? So I don't have to have time to make content. I am the content. You are the content, folks. If everyone could get past the freaking pictures like this, with the clever little sayings, that shit doesn't work. People want to know who you are. And guess what? It takes 7 to 15 times before someone actually starts even paying attention to you. So if every time I see a tuna fish sandwich, and the next time I see your car, and the next time I see a tuna fish sandwich, and then I see some salmon, dude, I just keep rolling. I don't care about that. I want to know who you are. So the source is number one. Get the source and quit trying to think up things to say and just be you. Number two, you want the creative. The creative is very simple. The headlines, the hook, the problem, the solution. If you guys were here yesterday, Neil talked about that. The hashtags, the editing, somebody that makes it a little bit cool, like smash cuts. I don't know if you guys follow me on social media, but if you look me up at The Real Brad Lee and start following me, you'll see like what we call smash cuts. I'll be smoking a cigar and all of a sudden it's down here. Well, that's because freaking from here to here I said some stupid shit. They cut it out. But you have to be you, because that's what makes you real. And you have to be real in order to get the momentum you're looking for. People have said, I tried social media, it didn't work. That's because you were thinking about what to try and put out there. What can I say that I'll sound intelligent? What can I do that makes everybody think I'm the best realtor or the mortgage officer or loan officer or the mortgage broker or whatever you do? What is the best way I can get them to think I'm the best? And guess what most people come up with? Hey, look at me, I'm the best. So does the next one, and the next one, and the next one. Hey, you want to spend an hour a week with me helping you become a business badass? Well, check out my group in the link below. You don't need to tell people you're the best. Let them see you be you. You know what? People want to deal with people they know, like, and trust. And when I see you make a mistake, and I see you don't know something also, but I see you in the industry, and all of a sudden I start, going out to you. But you have to have the creative. Now you can do that with apps, or you can do that with editors. A lot of people always text me, how do you make those? I'm like, editors. Editors are somewhat, costly, but you can go on onlinejobs.ph and hire a Filipino to work for you for probably $100 a week. And they will chop up more shit. Like for his salary, I could get 100 Filipinos doing all kinds of shit. So that's why I have him doing that, and then I send it to the Filipinos. No, I'm just joking. I do have a creative team, and the more this starts to work for you, the more money you start to see what it does for you, and the more what I call deal flow that comes in, you'll start doubling, tripling, and quadrupling sales. Whatever you do, the money will just start coming in. You'll be like, holy crap, this works. And then you start pouring more and more into it. But that's a little bit later. Right now, we're talking about creative. You have to have the creative. Don't post long-ass raw videos of you saying everything you said. Chop it down. Add the titles, add the hooks, add the hashtags, and add the subtitles. Number 3, you need the outlet. Okay, you have to have the right outlet. These are the minimum: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and TikTok. You have to have every single one of them. If you don't have a YouTube channel, go get a YouTube channel. It doesn't matter that you don't have any videos. Okay, I've never logged into Instagram and asked how to buy a house, how to save money on a loan. I've never asked Instagram how to do anything. I have on YouTube. So if you're not on YouTube, no one's going to find you. And the bottom line, if you want to keep shit simple, you guys want to make more, do more. That's how simple that is. If you talk to 100 people last year, talk to 200 people this year, I guarantee you'll make more. And what's crazy, it's not just double either, because you get what's called momentum. So you'll actually make more than double if you do double. And everyone wants to make it rocket science. They're like, Brad, how do I do more? It's like, what are you talking about? How do you do more? How many people did you talk to last month? Well, I didn't count. Well, that's number one. Like, count. I talked to 80 people. Okay, talk to 160. Bet you make twice as much. And then after you start to do more, and you start to do more, and you start to do more, pretty soon you'll consider yourself kind of maxed out. Well, then guess what you do after that? You get better. So you don't have to talk to as many to get the same result. So you do more, get better. And then the third one is scale. You guys want to make triple the money you've made? I guarantee you, do more. Like I said, go back, figure out what it is you do to make the money you make, and do more of it. It's like, well, dude, that's easy. Well, then do it. Then get better. Study. Come to shit like this. Get better. Practice. Drill. Rehearse. Then scale. And you scale by leveraging people and technology. That's the way you scale things, folks. I had a guy one time, he called me up. He says, Brad, will you coach me? And I said, I don't coach people. He said, come on, dude, I really like your style, and man, I really need you to coach me. And I said, dude, I don't coach. I don't have like a program. And he said, I'll give you $100,000. And I said, when do you want to start? He said, right away. I said, all right, tell me what it is you do. He told me what he does and everything. And I said, listen. So ultimately what he said is he spends Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday prospecting and setting up appointments for Thursday and Friday. And I said, okay, so how do you make money? He said, I told you, I prospect Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I close Thursday and Friday. And I said, so when do you make the money? He said, when I close a deal. I said, so you make money Thursday and Friday? He said, yeah. I said, so why not close deals all week long? He says, well, how am I going to get the appointments? And I said, well, you just told me you prospect. And he said, yeah, so I got to prospect Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And I said, well, why don't you hire somebody to prospect and set up appointments for you? And he said, huh. And he started doing that, and he went from making $750,000 to $2.5 million in less than 6 months. All he did was just heard it from someone else. He already knew that. We already know these things, folks. We have to sometimes be reminded. Keep it simple. Don't think it's rocket science, because it isn't. The reason why we act like it's rocket science is because we feel stupid that we don't know the answer. When you do know the answer, you're not listening to yourself. You're not even asking yourself. You're looking elsewhere. What's the answer? How do I break this glass ceiling? What do I do? Folks, you do more than you're doing right now. You get better at what you're doing right now. And you scale what you're doing right now. And that's it. There's no magic. And you'll frickin' crush next year. And you'll do the same thing, because we operate in cycles. But when you build a personal brand and you get that down, it's exponential. It's unbelievable, the power of a personal brand. Right now, I could blow up your business. Who would pay me a commission if I could blow up your business? Look how many hands, look how many opportunities I have right now. I could go, boom, make a deal with you. Dude, I want freaking 30% everything you get. He says, yeah. I go, look at this bald motherfucker right here. Yeah, he sells the shit out of houses. And his phone blows up. Damn, how'd he do that? I built a personal brand, folks. This is how you do it. Okay, you get the source, which is you. You get the creative, which chops it up, puts the headlines, gets rid of the ums and ahs. 3, you get the outlets, minimum. YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, all of them. All of them? All of them. All of them? All of them. Okay? YouTube being the most important. Make sure you're on YouTube, folks. If I was you right now while I'm talking, go to YouTube, make your damn page. After you get that down and you have all those accounts, now the next one is frequency. How often do you put shit out there? Believe it or not, folks, 2 to 4 videos per channel per day. Per day, per day. But that's hard. Didn't say it was easy. But I'm telling you, it's worth it. You'll make an unbelievable amount of money, and you'll be able to make unbelievable impact if you do that. Unbelievable. You can help other people. You can help a fledgling business. You can help your cousin, your brother, your sister, your mom. It doesn't matter. You got the power of a personal brand. It's unbelievable. And you build 2 to 4 videos per day, per channel. Now, they all have their little algorithms and their little formats. Some you're doing, a different format than others. So literally it's work, but 2 to 4 per day. Let's just take the minimum of 2. There's 6. That's 12 videos a day. Now, most people will think, holy shit, dude, I can't come up with 12 videos a day. If you filmed everything you did all day long, other than the bathroom and the bedroom, you could come up with 200 videos a day. You're just not. You're just not. You can. That's limiting belief, by the way, if you think you can't. Yes, you can. If I followed you all around with a camera, and at the end of the day, I took my team, they'd put shit out there, and you'd be like, dude, I said that? Like sometimes I look at the video and I'm like, dude, I said that? Fuck, that's good. Not trying to think about what to say. I'm just saying stuff to people. I'm helping people. I'm talking people about sales and closing and persuasion. I've got a thing called Closer School Live where I just coach people $97 a month, freaking 4 days a week. I'm on the phone and guess what? $97 a month, like best deal on earth. Why do I do it? I've wanted to quit 100 times because there's only like a handful of people. I'm like, assholes, like freaking I got better shit to do. It's freaking content like you wouldn't believe. I get some of the best content helping people learn to close, sell, and persuade, which then makes it, more people buy. I'm up to like freaking 1,400 people at $100 a month. Do the math. It adds up. And now I'm being paid to make content. I got a podcast called Dropping Bombs, where I get like Grant Cardone and all these freaking thought leaders in there. And sometimes not thought leaders, sometimes people that have crashed and burnt, and I'm talking about that. But I got Dropping Bombs. I'm tons of content. I talk to employees. I talk to my wife. I talk to my kids. I talk to freaking customers. I close deals, actual deals. I've got freaking shitloads of companies. I'm on the phone a lot talking to customers. That's all you got to do. Be you. That's the content. Get a creative team or become one. Put it on the 6 channels minimum I talked about, and do it 2 to 4 times a day. And I'm telling you, once you guys knock those 4 things out, it's going to freaking be the most valuable thing, the most impact I could have given you. The 5th one is what we call boost. Boost is what you do when you already have done those 4 consistently for a while. Then you boost. Boost just means you pay. You pay to get seen. I can pay $10,000 or $10. So if you don't pay anything to be seen, why? $10 a day you could put out there. Guess what $10 will do? It'll get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of new people to see you. And out of hundreds and hundreds of people that see you, boom, you start getting business, you start getting deal, you start getting influence, you start making impact. But that's boost. You guys have heard of Grant Cardone, anybody? Okay, Grant Cardone, dude, when I met him, he was a one-man band selling freaking car salesman training. He was buying real estate on the side, by the way, so I don't want to take that from him. But he was just a salesman, trainer for car sales. And nobody really knew who he was unless you were in a couple of car dealerships. That's the only people that knew who he was. We'd hang out, nobody knew who he was. Then he started freaking getting on social media. He started getting on YouTube. He started putting out Grant Rant. He started bang, 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 bang. And guess what? Still nobody knew who he was. Then he started boosting. He started spending up towards $1 million a month so you would see his face every day, all day. And a lot of people didn't like him, and a lot of people loved him. And he didn't care if you didn't like him, because he wasn't looking for you. You're not looking for the people that hate you. You'll find them, unfortunately. But you're not looking for the people that hate you, folks. You're looking for the people that don't. And that's the key. That's the content flow. Anybody tells you anything different, it's just add it to what I just said. Because I'm telling you right now, up about 4 years ago, Nobody knew who I was. My social media started 4 or 5 years ago with 0 followers on all of them. And all I did is exactly what I said. I didn't start out that way, actually. I started out by doing what everybody does. I started thinking, what can I put to make myself look cool? What can I wear? Hey, look at me in my car. And all that shit, dude, didn't add up to nothing. And I couldn't figure it out. It was like, this is unbelievable. I don't get it. I don't get it. I had another camera guy at the time. His name was Sebastian. And he was very methodical and organized, which I'm not. He kept, one day he was bothering me. We've got to make content. I said, yeah, I know. He came in again. He goes, Brad, we have to make content. I said, I know, dude. I'm busy. I'll get back to you. Came in again. He goes, dude, time to make content. And I said, dude, just turn the fucking camera on. I am the content. I got back on the call, finished talking. Employee walked in, had a little heated discussion with that person, started explaining processes and whatnot, walked outside. Dude just followed me, and I forgot the camera was on me. He sent that to the creative team. Chop, chop, chop. Drop. Boom. Drop. Boom. Then the engagement started. Then the freaking comments started. Good and bad, folks. Good and bad. But that's when it all started to grow. And now, I'm picking up 50, 60,000 followers a month. It's now getting up to about, 50,000 a week. And I haven't even started the boost yet, folks. I'm getting right into boost now. So it's I call it content flow, but really it's basically you going out there and making 2 to 4 videos a day in the fashion that I told you, putting it on 6 channels and doing it for a period of time. If you do that for the next 3 to 4 years, I promise you one thing, that will be the biggest impact that I could have made on anybody here, but you have to do it. You can't be one of these people that just come in here, take a bunch of notes, and then leave and never, ever do it. Okay, you have to do it or it's not going to work for a fact. The reason most people don't do it, folks, is because they're so worried about everybody else's opinion. You're too worried what people are going to think of you. Do you know who I asked if I should wear this jacket here tonight? Nobody. I didn't ask anybody. I knew it would go with this background like shit. Look at that shit, dude. Woo! Look at that. And I knew, like, if I did this, or if I did that, these are images that are never going to go away. And you couldn't have planned a better outfit, huh? I didn't ask anybody, what do you think? Hey, you think this is too much? What do you think people are going to think? I didn't care. You know why? Because I validate myself. And that's why people... And honestly, guys, that is why people won't go out and do what I'm telling them. They don't validate their own opinion. They're waiting for somebody else to validate themselves. I need you to tell me I'm doing well. I need you to say this is a good jacket. And if I don't think it is, ooh, what if I'm wrong and I look stupid and people don't like me? Ooh, I don't want that. That's how I used to be, folks. And then I created what I call my sacred 6. And it got me to where I stopped worrying so much about everybody else's opinion because I started to value my own. And I never did that before this. So I'm going to wrap it up with my sacred 6 so you can take these home and do them. Because I think if anything's going to stop you, it's going to be yourself. And that's the thing that bothers me the most. I give people information and then a year later they're not doing anything with it. And I kept wondering, why are they not doing anything? And then I realized, you're never going to outperform your own self-image. You're making what you're making because you believe that's what you're worth. You can lie to yourself, you can have an ego, but trust me, folks, you're making what you're making because you believe you're worth what you're making. And if you want to make more, unfortunately, you have to believe that you're worth more. The first thing that I realized is because I used to pull all kinds of scams and gimmicks and shit. Read my book the hard way, dude. I learned this shit the hard way. And when I went back and I started looking back, see, it's hard to see moving forward, but once you look back, it's like easy to see where you went right and where you went wrong. And so when I look back, man, I did a lot of things that I wasn't proud of and I shouldn't have done and I shouldn't have said. And so ultimately I forgave myself. So that's step one of the Sacred Six. We have to forgive ourselves. We're always so eager to forgive everybody else. Somebody screws you over, you're like, it's okay, I love you, no problem. How come you don't do that for you? How come you're not worth forgiveness? So you forgive yourself. Okay? Then I realized that every time I said I'd do something, I'd always let myself down. Well, once I forgave myself and wiped the slate clean, I decided, you know what? I need to commit to do what I say I'm going to do from this point forward. So that's what I did. I committed to do what I say I'm going to do no matter what. If I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. I don't care if it kills me. Because if I don't do what I say I'm going to do, it's going to chip away at my self-esteem and my self-worth. Because I do what I say I'm going to do. And what's crazy is it's just a decision. It's just a decision you make. So if you don't make that decision, you're stopping you. You guys can make 10 times the money you're making once you make the decision. But it's just a decision if you think about it, dude. Everything boils down to choices that we make. The choices we make determine the road we take. Every day, should I eat that donut or not? Should I go work out or not? Should I make one more call or go home and have a beer? Should I work a little bit more? Should I work a little bit less? All these decisions we make determine the road we take. And I think the reason we make the decisions we make is because we have inside, deep down, a low self-image, a low self-worth, and we're not even aware of it, which is what sucks. Some of us aren't even aware of it. I wasn't aware of it. It's in the subconscious, which is below awareness. So ultimately, you got to commit to do what you say you're going to do. Number 3, you got to start racking up the wins. Stop making these ridiculous freaking big-ass goals short term. Make those long term, so if you fail, it's a long time from now. Make 10 to 15 goals today that you can hit. I'm going to get up tomorrow at 6 a.m. Win. I'm going to freaking work out a little bit. I'm going to get my heart rate moving a little bit. I'm going to raise my heart rate a little bit. Win. I'm going to lift a couple of weights. Win. I'm going to call one more person. Win. You start winning a lot. Guess what that makes you become? A winner. You start to believe you're a winner because you win all day long because you're crushing it. It doesn't have to be massive. Just make them littler goals. But rack up the wins. And then you'll start walking a little taller and you'll start feeling a little bit better about yourself. And you'll start going, oh my God, dude, I'm worth more than this. I can do better than this. And then step 4 comes into play. Get rid of the idiots. Because that's when the idiots will start saying, who do you think you are? Why do you think you're worth that? You didn't even freaking graduate high school, dude. Oh, now you're going to become the top realtor? Why, dude? You don't even have a freaking nice car. Now you're going to be something special? Those people you got to get rid of. Because folks, if this is soil and you plant corn, you're going to get corn. You plant shit, you're going to get shit. Watch what's planted. It's not rocket science. Stop the nonsense from allowing it in, especially from yourself, too. You sneak it in there sometimes. Oh, I don't think I can. Yes, you can. You got to think you can. But more importantly, others. Get rid of the idiots. That's step 4. Get rid of them. Okay? Then step 5, map out and visualize what success looks like. Because if you don't know what it looks like, folks, you're never going to find it. Figure out exactly what it looks like. Visualize yourself there every single day. Feel what it's like to be where it is you want to be. Create the freaking epic dream life that you've ever freaking thought and do not hold back because it's all possible. And visualize it every single day. Wake up. I spend 10 minutes visualizing. Right now I visualize a G650. And I'll bet you within 2 or 3 years you'll see me with a G650 and you'll be like, son of a bitch. I know what color it is. I know what it smells like. I see it every day. I wish I could take it every day. Hey, don't worry about that shit. Midnight blue. But I wish I could take it every day. But guess what? I don't care. I don't care right now. Boom. I know it's coming. So visualize, map out, visualize. And then every day, every time you make a decision, am I moving towards or away? Does this move me towards that or away from that? See, again, it's not rocket science. Does this move me towards or away? Hey, I'm going to go get shit-faced this weekend instead of put in the extra work. Well, does that move me towards or away? And sometimes you're like, I don't care. It moves me away, but I don't care. I deserve it. Good for you. Go party then. But at the end of the day, dude, quit making it rocket science. Does it move me towards or away? But first you map out and visualize. And then step 6, you seek new information. Folks, this is the trick. Seek new information. Because if you want to change what you're getting, you got to change what you're doing. That makes sense to everybody, yes? Guys, it's not rocket science. You want to change what you're getting, you got to change what you're doing. In order to change what you're doing, you have to change what you believe. The reason you do what you do is because you believe what you believe, and the reason you believe for whatever reason is from the past. Your parents, somebody told you something and you believed it and you agreed with it, and it doesn't make it true. You can believe untrue shit. So you have to change what you believe in order to change the shit you do. That's why it's so hard for people to change, because they don't realize it's not just something you do. You got to change what you believe. Well, how do you change what you believe? There's only one way. You got to get new information. New information is what causes you to change what you believe. New information, folks. Read books every day. Listen to a podcast. Listen to freaking courses. Take courses every single day. You should be reading 10 to 20 pages of a book. And if you're not, then I always tell people, like, I want to be a billionaire. Put your hands down, dude. Take the jersey off and get out of the game. Read a book every day. Well, I don't have time. You have time to read a book every day. Get up an hour earlier. If you got up every morning 2 hours earlier, you'll have freaking an extra month in the year. A whole entire month. So those are excuses. Those are limitations. If you start to seek new information, I would suggest start with mindset. Because if you want to be unstoppable, folks, it's pretty simple. You get the right mindset, you get the right fucking skill set, and then you form the right habits. End of story. You will be unstoppable if you do that. But it all starts with making that first decision. Decision I told you that I hope you make by the time I'm done talking. And the decision I want you to make is to fucking love yourself, folks. Value yourself. And then it all falls in place, or at least it did for me. And that's the best I can do for you in the time they gave me. Appreciate your time. Are you visualizing every single day making $1 million? Because most people are like, no. They think about it, I want to make $1 million. And then they're over there thinking about, I want to eat a sandwich. Like, they're not back to freaking, I want to make $1 million, I want to make $1 million, I need to make $1 million. If you did that every day, how am I going to make $1 million? How am I going to make $1 million? Everyone you came into contact with, how am I going to make $1 million? Can you help me make $1 million? Do you know anybody that can make $1 million? I guarantee you, dude, you're going to make $1 million.